2025, and it's another wonderful day to be above ground and on this planet doing what we do. So, Andy, how are you doing? And we'll say hello again to Danielle, and we'll start to hear Danielle's story. How's it going, Andy? All right. I guess we're having a little difficulty. We're having some difficulty yesterday. So Danielle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It was really exciting to get the invite to come up here, especially since I am not an expert in this space. And I know that you and Andy, you host a lot of this, and there's the so much wisdom being dropped. But I think what's really cool about this angle is that for somebody like me who has been in corporate America for like 25 plus years, now doing the entrepreneurial journey, how we have to dive in and become proficient and efficient in AI tools, right? So this will be more about me asking questions or demonstrating how we can incorporate that. So I think this is going to be really great for people that want to learn a little bit more about, what the two of you know more than anything. And I'm happy to answer any questions. You just lead it.
Awesome. Andy, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah. Hello, Danielle. Welcome. Hey, John. Everybody. Summer and Nathan and Russ. Thank you all the early people who were joined, and I see Praise just jumped in there. Um, we got a live stream going as well. And what I did today was I put up just a banner that said the AI Biz Hour starting at noon. And then I started live streaming 30 minutes ago, and I just kept every 15 minutes said, "Hey, join us in 15 minutes," and sent out a bunch of links. We've already had 50 people who've taken a taken a look at the live stream with nothing on it. So I think that's pretty funny. And we've got AI is amazing. We have so many things that are going on today. Um, and I sent John. Did you get? I sent you a bunch of stuff that I programmed Chat GPT to search for the latest top 10 articles worldwide and send them to me every morning. And I can show you how to do that. But one of them was really fascinating, and it was Israel created an AI specifically for the Gaza Strip. And everything coming in and out of that, it's capturing and putting into its own um, LLM. That's not the point though. That's interesting. The interesting thing is that now we have a report of a very specific purpose to create a very specific LLM to capture one specific type of data and focus all of its energies in that one space. Kind of like the guy that I saw on Instagram that is training his own LLM for a very specific area. I forget, I don't remember. In medicine, he's a doctor and he's like everything around whatever. Really fascinating that he's doing that. I think the rise of that kind of thing is just that. That is the big open business frontier right now, and I, I I can see hundreds of use cases where that could be appropriate, whether it's capturing a specific type of music or listening to a specific set of lyrics or watching a specific set of commercials or managing a specific spend of advertising or speakers or preachers or type of sermons or I on and on and on. I think that's just a whole fascinating topic where you could create a localized LLM, find a niche area topic, and then have it scour the information. And then whatever the most recent thing is, just dump it into that. And so then that becomes a highly trained resource for that particular type of information. Anyway, I thought that was really fascinating. And I've been thinking about that since 5 o'clock this morning when I read that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the things that the partnership between Andy and myself brings is my experiences working with businesses that everything between like regional HVAC and law firms, dental to national financial companies, but between like 2 million annually to about 48 million or something, where Andy has experience with big projects. So we both come at this topic from different points of view, but it fills pretty much the gamut of business on the planet in terms of size and scope. So I think that that's one of the things that we can bring here. And today our guest is Danielle S- Spl- S-
Don't
Splows.
mess it up. Don't you
Daniel
dare mess it
Sproles.
up.
Sproles.
Sproles, and
Scrolls. Yeah.
otherwise known as the WFT lady.
Oh, good God. Sit down.
WTF.
WTF.
I'm
Hey,
just
you got listen. You got to give
What
John.
the
well,
fungula?
Andy.
John's a little
Let me
dyslexic.
speak.
He'll
Let me
switch
speak.
things around. Don't
Let
worry
me
about it.
speak
He's
for
good.
myself on this
He's
one.
good.
I'm extremely dyslexic, and I constantly am. I used to say GDP or whatever instead of chat GPT, and it's just how my brain works. That's the way I've always been. My clients, they find it kind of amusing, but that's just the way my brain works. So apologies, please accept it. It's hey Zoo, what are you saying? What are you saying? Are you saying I guess I could try harder and I will, but I'm just being myself. I don't want to be self-conscious here. I'm just going to be myself and I'm not self-conscious person. And so I do this and I have areas where I
No
excel.
worries. No worries.
So, but it does, like my sister is a grammatical Nazi, and so she really gets upset with that. But whatever. What are we going to do? One thing I think that we're going to do today is Danielle. I would really love to hear about your background, how your education, how you got into business, and then what brought you to where you are today, and your thoughts about AI, because right now everybody who's here is either a business owner, a developer, or somebody who's working who is wanting to increase their skills. And I put this article out today on my feed about what is it Sam Altman had a discussion at a Morgan Stanley conference about AI and deflation and how it's going to affect things. And there's a couple scenarios on how this is going to play out. There's some discussion about GPU shortages because of electricity issues. There's discussions about how quickly businesses will adapt to this. In my experience talking to businesses, there's a lot of um, pushback on this. The key that I found that has worked is when I get clients to get a GPT account or to start using Grok. A lot of people have trouble with Grok because it's with Elon Musk and political things, what have you. But to get people to start using these things, then their eyes start to open up. But I don't I question how quickly, some businesses will grab this right away. They're just forward thinkers. They're younger. They're always on the cutting edge. Some businesses will be reluctant. Some industries may be reluctant until they find out the situation. So I'm really interested to hear your take on this, because we have not had someone with your background as a guest yet, and I think that we can use this so all of us can kind of understand where people are coming from that could definitely use these new tools, but are looking at the news and looking at what they hear from friends and trying to sort out, is this beneficial for me? Is it all noise? Is it hype? You don't want to be the first one into the pool often, because the first one into the pool doesn't get the best of everything. That's probably not a great analogy, but it seems that first adapters can do really well, but sometimes first people into industries don't. But I would love to hear about where you're from and your background and what got you interested in being in the corporate world, and then what got you interested in being your own boss.
Okay. First of all, this is a no judgment zone, so I wasn't judging you about your dyslexia. I think I have a tad of that. I definitely have ADHD. We all have something. This is what I'll say about that though. WTF, that's important. We get those letters in the right order, right? There's a reason I'm the WTF lady. I just adore you guys. For those that are tuning in that may not know, we all are part of something called the startup community, the startup circle. And if you don't know about it, you want to get in there and learn and communicate and collaborate with a lot of people that are they're just rock stars, in my opinion. Here's the thing, right? And I think that Justin was talking about this earlier today. AI is not going to replace anybody, but people that can proficiently and really use AI, they will. So, no matter what the age, probably the younger generation is more apt to learn because they're growing up in that space. I come from the class of 1964. Yeah, do the math. I'm 60 years old. We didn't have computers and cell phones, and so we weren't raised with that kind of platform. But I well know, and I'm eager to learn. So I don't really care what age anybody is. If you're interested, go for it. The thing about this that can be challenging is that it's such a dynamic movement. To Andy's earlier point, yeah, every time you turn around, something's being reintroduced or changed, or there's just so much. So, by way of background, I live in Southern California now. We moved here in 2017, but I am from the East Coast, so you'll probably detect a Jersey accent that would be accurate. And I say coffee and water and all those things. So that's where I'm from. I so by way of education, let's see, went to college to actually direct. I wanted to deliver babies. I still do. If you said you could do anything tomorrow, what would you be doing with your job? It would be delivering babies. I wanted to be an obstetrician in the worst way, and I'm coming to realize that a lot of people don't really want that career, but I did. But I never got to be an obstetrician, but I got to deliver four of my own. So I have four kids, and they're awesome. Third year of college, I was shown by my guidance counselor I was struggling with those higher chemistry courses. So I said, okay, fine, I'm not done with education, I'll go into law. And that's how I became a lawyer. I wasn't done with education, and so I went to law school, graduated, passed the bar the first time, thank God, because it was like at an all-time low that year, and proceeded to start at work. I was already married. I got married at 22, and about a year or so after practicing law, found myself, with child, which was a great thing. I mean, I was married for 4 years at that point, but it interrupted the career. I worked as an attorney full time for just a brief moment, year and a half, and then took a little hiatus to raise my children. And I had four kids in 8 years, so that goes to show you my level of ambition, I think. But stayed home for 8 years, and what happened was my brain was getting just fried. Anybody that's a stay-at-home parent will tell you it is the hardest job on earth I mean, hands down. And I wanted to go back to practicing law or just doing something outside the home. And I also wanted to have some financial independence. I grew up in a family where I witnessed both my mother and my grandmother be just annihilated through the divorces with having no finances. And I thought, no, that's not going to be me. And although my marriage wasn't rocky then, I wanted my own income, to be honest with you. And so what happened was at a party, somebody came up to me that was an attorney and said, "Hey, I'll hire you." And I thought, well, this is great. I'm a little rusty with my law skills, but I have a friend here that's going to help me. But what he made clear was that he owned a commercial title insurance firm, and I knew zero about commercial title insurance. But I thought, okay, let me just play around for a little bit. And what I thought would just be a temporary stint so I could get out of the house became like a career that I'm now doing on the side, but that I did full time in New York for 23 years. And there was no going back to practicing law because within, I would say, 2 years, I went from making like very little to making seven figures. I fell into the powerhouse real estate community in New York. And collectively, I have closed over $20 billion worth of commercial real estate in the country. So it has proved to be a really big, great career financially, just wonderful. Got the kids all through college. They have no debt and all that. But about a year and a half ago, I recognized that this was no longer fulfilling. I was no longer making the seven figures, to be clear. But out here in California, where I live, the rules around commercial title insurance are very different. They have something called SB 133. And within those rules, I was no longer able to be on boards. I had been president of a real estate board, and I was, also positioned to be on another board. And they are now enforcing that you can't do that. And I had to take a hard look at my life and thought, is this really serving me anymore? And the truth of the matter is, it wasn't. I was no longer happy. So what I came to terms with is, there's a season for everything, and recognizing the expiration date, whether it's a job or a relationship, is really important. Having the courage to make that pivot, because I'm all about pivots, is critical. And so I pivoted into executive coaching because I had already been doing that for several years, but just kind of on the side. I am certified in that space, but it was something I was enjoying and I would consider it more of a hobby for a while, a paid hobby, but something small. So I brought that to the front burner and brought the real estate to the back burner. I still work for a company in Manhattan, even though I live in California, and I do commercial real estate transactions through them, but it's not my main focus.
That that's a good I love it. I'm from Long Island, so we both have that East Coast thing. The level of business and transactions you're doing to do commercial real estate on the East Coast is like serious stuff. And then to come to California and but the I guess spider's nest of regulations and things is tough to deal with. And yeah, I love your story. So have you during this whole experience, were you proficient at Microsoft Outlook? Did you enjoy using Google Docs? Do you like the technology aspect that you had to learn? Was it only out of necessity, or was it something that you kind of got into and enjoyed? I'd be curious about that.
Well, to be clear, the answer is no. So, when you're a high performing salesperson, like I was, you have staff, right? I mean, they will assign teams to you. And I had my own admin and assistant. And so, anything that had to do with, I wouldn't say it was really AI related, but everything was done for me. And so, when I came into entrepreneurship, that was a rude awakening, and I leaned heavily first on my daughter. I still actually do. I mean, my kids are older. So I have kids that are 33, 31, 29, and 26. I had to think about that. And I do it backwards, right? So, I was like, the endless text, like, well, how do you do this? What is this? What is that? But here's the thing. I mean, I'm a curious person and I have a growth mindset. I'm not going to tell you some days this stuff is daunting because what is available to you and knowing how to utilize them, that's not the same thing. There is a big gap, okay, between downloading an app and then becoming proficient in it. Right now, it's ChatGPT because it was the first one that came across my plate maybe about a year and a half ago. And so as you get familiar, you just stay comfortable. I don't use Grok very often, maybe once in a blue moon, but I'm also relatively new to X. I've only started being active on X. I, is it 3 months, 4 months? I mean, I signed up for it in July because a friend of mine who's very active here was sharing a podcast that I did, and she was my guest. So she put it up there and she said, "Hey, get on X because, I'm growing a big business community and I'm talking about you." So that's what kind of launched me into X. But it's only through knowing the startup circle. And I see Kevin's on here. Kudos to you, our founder. That I became involved because once I saw that there was a talking community, well, I mean, hands down, that's a better experience. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Substack, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all of them in just smaller ways. But the community aspect, the collaboration that happens in real time through these conversations, that's what locked me in. That's what locked me in. So this is where I reside. But regarding tools, I mean, it's ChatGPT. I have a podcast. It's on hiatus right now. I don't know if I'm going to resurrect it, but I want to mention that it's called Unscripted Pivots. The tagline for it is inspiring stories from WTF, Women That Flourish. That's where WTF was born. I wanted to talk to women, and it was only geared towards women, and it was just a hobby on the side where I talked to them about all their pivots, their unscripted pivots in their life, because everybody, man or woman, has experienced a pivot. Where it's constant. The AI community is about pivoting, right? I mean, who are we kidding? And so that's how WTF started. And the podcast, one of the AI components that my podcast manager was doing was he had, I guess through AI, copied my voice. Now the podcasts, they're all done. They're done on a platform called Riverside, and it's really me. But on occasion, I would flip up and like I would say something wrong, and something that would be critical. Maybe I was talking about a percentage of something, and instead of saying 45%, I said 4%. Well, that doesn't fly for the conversation. So what he had me do one day, and you two probably would know about this because I don't know what platform he used. He sent me a paragraph that I had to read, and it wasn't a paragraph from the transcript, but it was the correct words so that AI could copy my voice. So in future episodes, when anything happened, he was able to copy my voice, just using whatever he downloaded, what I read, And that was kind of cool. So I know there's so many tools out there, and when I think about it, it's just crazy. But you guys know that I'm like an acronym nerd. That's what everything to me is an acronym, not just WTF. But when I get on here and I start hearing you guys going LLM and API and NLP and DL, I mean, DL to me was on the down low, but now it's deep learning. Like, I just laugh at how much like, everybody's dropping acronyms in your community. But you know what we don't know, we can figure out. What we don't know, we can learn. So you can either use all of these different tech pieces as an obstacle, or you can use them as an opportunity. I choose to use them as an opportunity.
Yeah, women that flourish. That's WTF. Yeah, I that's you know I
I still like the other one.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
well, it's all based on that, Andy.
Exactly.
so
Exactly, because we're all about the same. We all grew up in the three of us, John and Danielle and I, we're all about we came from that same time frame. So yeah, we're all in that same. I have a quick question for you. How uh given that we're all from that same kind of time frame, what do you think the biggest uh the biggest mindset shift you had to do in order to get to where you are now? Not just the okay, I've done this, I've raised my family, and I've done the corporate stuff, and okay, now I'm going to do something different. But just because you did that does it's like you were saying, you can download an app, but you can't, you got to figure out how to use it. What was that one thing that made you go, huh, this is interesting. Let me try this?
Well, I mean, in terms of the tools, Andy, is that what we're referring to?
Sure. Tools, AI, X, podcasting. I know you made a pivot to doing business coaching, but that's talking to other humans about their problems and how to help them fix their problems. What about on the technology side? What was it the pivot that made you go, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to spend some time and take away the
Yeah.
no problems and start working on it.
Well, I mean, even before took on the role as an executive coach full time, I mean, I had the podcast, and I've always been somebody who's been a big poster of stuff, mostly in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I resided. And to be clear, I never cared about how many followers I had, but that's where I was like communicating with people. So I was like queen of like the videos too. Any event I went to, I did videos. So, well, how do you start doing that? What do you do with the content creation? I mean, I became familiar with OpenAI really because I wanted to improve like my LinkedIn posts, the different things that, brainstorming, like, how I could like even come up with better ideas. So I think it was just more out of curiosity. I think curiosity is a superpower. That's how I pretty much lead my life. I mean, but sometimes it gets frustrating because learning all this stuff, like I said, applying it, ChatGPT, I think is very, very friendly. But I have yet to dive into things that would probably be very helpful to me, but I'll see them, right? Mid Journey. Everybody's dropping. I've been hearing about that for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. And I have yet to go into the creating like visuals. Some of that stuff just doesn't look like it's coming out right to me. So I'd love to hear what your take is on that. And even, I mean, I use a lot of platforms that have embedded within them the AI technology, for instance, Zoom, right? So some of my coaching is done online because it's not just centric to California. So I coach nationally. And when they're on Zoom, this is terrific because now I have the meeting summary. Well, that makes my job a whole lot easier. And I don't just spit it back out to them. I look at it and then I highlight and eliminate so that it's a personalized experience for them. But I mean, I want to work better. I want to work faster. I want to work smarter, right? And just generally not keep up. I want to be in the lead, damn it. I mean, how many, I don't care what you're doing, what industry you're in, there's so many of us. Okay, whether you're a coach or you're a realtor or you're a restaurant person, whatever the hell it is. I mean, you've got a lot of competition. To be clear, I only compete against myself. What's the best version I can be? I compete against Danielle yesterday. What version was she? And I choose when I see people that are doing something and further along, the mindset shift really isn't like, oh, I can't create this because it's already been done or they do it so much better. I use it for inspiration, not competition. That's what I firmly believe. Anything that gets on my radar, a person or an idea, I know it's there to inspire me. if I choose not to become jealous about it, or let it block me because I think I'm not as far along. I just don't do that anymore. And when you get rid of all that mind crap, when you change what your self-talk is, there are no limits to what you can accomplish. But it all starts with your mindset. I mean,
So,
would you agree?
of course. And so Daniel, so I was listening to somebody the other day, very, very successful business person, and he said the greatest asset any business owner has is their attention. And I think one of the big problems with AI for someone like you and as is, where do I put my attention? How do I get the best return on my attention? And when I mentioned, do you use Excel or what have you, you're like, oh no, I have people that did that. I didn't have to deal with that because the best use of my time and my attention was not that. It was doing other things. And so I was thinking that today might be kind of fun, is I could ask you questions and we could figure out for you in your situation, where is the best place for you to put attention when it comes to AI, to find solutions that will reap the biggest benefit out of it. How does that sound? And because I've got a
Sounds
couple
great.
yeah, I mean, because that's what I do, Andy, just interrupt me if you have anything that you want
No,
to go
well,
in.
yeah. Before we jump there, it- it's always mindset. It's always how we resonate with other people, right? So it's uh, the reason why X is so, to me, the reason why X is so cool compared to everywhere else is you can read what people write right now. You can read and listen to what people say right now. And in every other avenue of life that I have, it takes a lot of work to get a bunch of people on the same kind of call at the same time at the same whatever. But not here. We just go, hey, we're going to be talking about stuff every day at lunch, California time. Show up if you want. If you've got time, show up and ask your questions and participate in the conversation. If not, listen to it later because John and I are going to show up and have a conversation. Like yesterday, X was going crazy and hardly anybody could connect to anything at all. It wasn't just us or whatever, but we ended up with a great conversation. And that is very easy to do with X and difficult to do. There are barriers and constraints and restrictions and friction to do that in every other way. And doing the same kind of thing that Danielle does, consulting with people and helping them and putting up group coaching and creating those kind of activities, it's challenging to coordinate schedules, especially in today's world. So instead, I think like you, Daniel, these are the times when my office hours are open. These are the times when I can talk. And then the rest of the time I do other work and I block my time out and I've got a whole bunch of stuff you ever want to. If you're interested in blocking time, just send me a DM. I'll send you my PDFs and stuff on how I do that. But Daniel, what is the what is it that about X, while we get into the AI stuff, what is it about X that is more attractive than all the stuff you have on LinkedIn and everywhere else?
Well, again, it comes to, I mean, I think anytime you're going to spend your valuable time, and time is the most valuable asset we have online with social media, it has to do with engagement and relationship building, right? I mean, this is not, it's exciting on a personal level. I mean, I love people. So, we get that in spaces. Um, the other ones, it's just not the same. LinkedIn is not the same. Although I will tell you, I have gotten the last three jobs that I had that where I changed firms and I was recruited, like privately recruited, was because of LinkedIn, because of things that I was posting on LinkedIn. So you cannot underestimate the power of these platforms. You don't even have to have a big following. You just have to have the right people following you, to tell you the truth, and they are there to promote and engage and connect. So um, I don't know. Could you ask me that question again? I'm trying to think of where it is that you're going.
Well, I was just wondering, X is different than the other places because we can just turn on the mic and start talking. We can create a space and start chatting, and anyone who's following us will get an alert. And if they have time right then, we can just have a conversation. In fact, I don't know if you for everybody. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can make a direct audio to audio call or even like a FaceTime call using your phone and X to anybody in the world. You don't have to make a long distance call or set up Zoom or do a schedule. I've talked to my friends in various parts of the world by just clicking the little phone button and starting chatting with them through X, not using the cell phone network, not using the anything else other than using X directly to talk point to point from person to person. And that is awesome. And I don't think many people quite understand that you can sign up for free on X, connect your phone to X wherever you're at, as long as you have a decent connection. And then you can literally have a phone call, you can have an audio person to person conversation with somebody anywhere that they are in the world, as long as there's network capability. Because making a phone call to Nigeria or to India or to Singapore or to Indonesia sometimes takes some additional challenges. But if my friends are just on X, I just hit the button and go, "Hey, what's going on?" and talk to them that way. So the streams and ability for communication to happen is amazing. Okay, so second question you had, Danielle, was about Mid-Journey and other things. X can, Grok, you just click on Grok and say, make me an image of this, and it'll make something. If you go to Chat GPT on the 4.0 model, you can say, make me an image of this, and it will just create the image for you. The previous version they were using was called Flux, Flux, Flux.ai, and that was awesome. And you can go to Flux.ai and create images. Mid-Journey is a little more challenging because you have to go through Discord to do it. So there's like an additional layer of friction. You have to get a Discord, create an account, join the Mid-Journey channel, then go on there, create the prompt, and it'll make the video or the audio for you. But Sora inside of ChatGPT is part of OpenAI. Sora will make little videos, little 5-second GIF clips, uh, Mid-Journey Flux, and but just using uh, these when they say multimodal AI, that's what they mean. You can ask it to create text, it will. You can ask it to create a grid or a workflow, and it will. In fact, I don't know if you guys tried this, but there's other things you can do there. Like if you say, create a workflow model of this tree of decision making, it will go make the metadata that you can copy into an application that will then just create the, the swim lane workflows automatically from any one of these multimodal systems. You can create video, you can create music, uh, recording your voice and all of those. I mean, think about this. If you could record the sample of your voice and then use AI to create a book, and then use the sample of your voice to read the book and listen to make sure that it's saying the right word, because some words have multiple pronunciations based on their context, same letters. And so it messes up sometimes. You can create a book, an ebook, an electronic audio book, a digital version, all with just these tools for a couple $100, instead of literally renting a studio, getting a professional mic, getting a producer and a sound engineer to track and been through that, gone down that road and went, that's way too much money. So anyway, those are some of the things, Danielle, that you can do that are just available for
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, 50, $100. It's amazing.
So you're bringing up a. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something, John?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so um I don't know if you have to leave at 1 o'clock or whatever, but
No,
I
I'm
just kind
good.
of like to go through what you're doing now, what your goals are, and in terms of your business, and then just start to give you various choices that you can use to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. I think that would be good for a lot of people here, just kind of understand what's available and what's working. So currently, like, the main focus of your business right now is coaching. Is that correct?
Coaching and speaking.
Okay, perfect. And the place that you're finding the most clients is through LinkedIn.
No, I, d- I I'm I'm an in-person networker. So I'm one of those people because I mean, really, that's I've had to be that, right? Being in sales for so many years. So that's just where I'm comfortable. So I wouldn't say, I guess for platform, maybe I'm not even on LinkedIn as much because now X has consumed me. This is a very addictive, and I say that in the most positive way, platform. So I have been posting less and less on all the other ones because things that you even post, I rather talk than post, to tell you the truth. I mean, that's where I'm at now that I've found these spaces. They don't translate well. What you post on LinkedIn, you're not going to necessarily be posting on X, and you're not going to be posting on Instagram, right? They're very, very different. Some of it's overlap, but I think that always, everybody knows this. You got to consider who you're speaking to, what the audience. I see some friends, we're talking about X up, in our little circles here in Newport Beach, and people are like, oh, and they get on, and then they post like they're posting on LinkedIn, and they're like, gee, nobody's liking my post. I have no friends, and I'm like, you're talking to different people. I mean, they don't want to know what it is that actually flies. So I always find that very interesting. Andy brought up a point about books. So for those that do know me, I've been talking about the book that I wrote, and the book is written, and right now, it is sitting with the interior designer. It went through the second proofreading, and some, little punctuation was changed. Things were, I got rid of some colons, put in some real sentences, whatever. 350 changes. And after they do that and the book's already in PDF, that's quite the task. So I'm waiting on that, and then the book will come up. This is what I will say. There are probably a lot of tools out there that can write your book and do it quick. And I think for fast, punchy ones, I think that that's excellent. Um, Here's where humans don't get replaced. The people that ended up coming into my life on the back end after the book was written, and I slowed my roll a little bit because it was brought to my attention that if I was going to use it as a business tool, and I wanted it to be a tool where I was going to capture paid keynote speaking events, that I better have, like, real people look at it. And so I did, because when somebody, I take account the source, always think about who it is that's saying something to you, right? Before you make a decision. So I said, let me do that. And I hired an outside guy who, is a ghostwriter, and he's also, a speaker, and he's all sorts of stuff. But I said, the book's written. I don't want you to ghostwrite it, but would you give me a objective opinion? And from there, let me tell you how this has launched my universe, because I paid the guy $900 to look at it. First, he said, look, for $3,500, my package would include me reading this book. It's, 270 pages, so it's long. And I will give you like a 25-page summary of every single page of my notes. And he said, or for $900, I will read it, and I will have a Zoom meeting with you, and I'll give you a 2-page synopsis. So I said, okay, let's go with the 900, right? Because 900 always sounds better than 35. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but through talking to him, it was so enlightening. Now, see, AI wouldn't have told me this. He looked at my book and he said, "Listen, if you accomplish what you set out to do, if you want to be known as the WTF lady, and why you have a WTF coaching framework, like what WTF means, because there's about 100 WTFs within the book. Thank you, AI, for helping me along that route." And he said, but you're really based on pivots. And he said, Danielle, the whole world is pivoting. He goes, with the introduction of AI, pivoting is like happening constantly through business. He said, you can become a thought leader in the pivot space. He said, because this book is essentially about how WTF moments can lead to purposeful pivots. He said, the book that you want to write next is all around business pivots. And he said, if you want some help along those lines, I can help you outline something like that. And from there became a whole new thing. So I've been working with him for 4 months on a weekly paid basis to help me create that book. And that really, I wouldn't have gotten that response if I was just putting it up myself. More than that, and I didn't know this when I hired him, he's a weekly columnist for Forbes magazine, and he writes about AI. So, interestingly enough, because of his imprinting on my mindset with the second book has a lot to do with AI, in as much as the pivot person in the story, where I'm demonstrating my new coaching framework and my skills around this, has to do with this large company, this accounting firm, losing their biggest client and having a WTF moment, right? And they have to purposely pivot because AI has replaced them, right? So the AI kind of theme is woven throughout this book that will be coming out, and well, probably next year, because first we got to get WTF out. But he's writing an article about me in Forbes magazine. Now, this is free. Now, you know what it costs to like even get those relationships? You have to be like a PR person or like know somebody to get that. And from there, he hooked me up with another person who hooked me up with another person. So, I will say, and look, I'm probably $10,000 in. I thought that I was just going to upload this sucker. I had a Canva produced cover, which was pretty decent, and I would like get it up there on, on Amazon, and off we go. But I slowed my roll. I took out my wallet, and what came from that is just huge because they showed me how much bigger I was than I could show myself. And so, that's what I'll say about that. That said, I am intending to put out some small punchy books that are all WTF related, and probably like 50-page books, and they'll probably be ebooks. We'll see where we go with that. And that's when I'll lean heavily on AI. So I love everything that you're sharing about that.
So I want to circle back a little bit, just in what you were saying that the majority of your business now is coming through networking. So could you define what, because it sounds like right there is example of it with the gentleman and him putting you in Forbes magazine. Define what that is to you and how do you move that forward? Because I think that's got a huge amount of value and I'd really like to hear the details of it. And how did you form what you have now?
A lot of that was born out of my previous role in commercial real estate. So, when you are a sales executive in any kind of space, right, you're deployed. You literally are paid, and they pay for memberships for you to attend a lot of stuff. So, in the commercial real estate space, some of the bigger ones are ULI, that stands for Urban Land Institute. Then you've got NAOP, that stands for National Association of Industrial Owner Property. There's ICSC, which has to do with shopping centers. And so I've spent, the last 2 decades traveling the country, attending a bunch of stuff. So, I'm talkative, right? You can see that. You guys know me for a minute, and so, and I love people. I mean, put me in any room, and you're gonna be meeting me. It's not that I'm overbearing so much as I'm curious, like what's going on with you. That's even why I started the podcast. I want to hear what's going on with people, not just my life. Anyway, I am always attending all sorts of functions and events, either because I'm paying to do that or people are inviting me to be at their table. So I am physically out numerous times during the week, which is why I don't really catch your show most of the time because you have it at lunch hour, which would seem like downtime, but that's uptime for me. I'm out there like doing business lunches constantly or attending events around that hour. So it really, I think anything, it doesn't matter what we do, right? It's a relationship business. The reason this is proven to be successful for me is because it's word of mouth. So people will come to me, and to get it into a paid conversation, it has to be because somebody's referring, like, hey, you want to hire Danielle. She's helped me get unstuck. And my clientele are career professionals. These are people that are in transition, not necessarily job transition, but maybe role transitioning. They're leveling up. They're temporarily not being able to access the tools that they've had, right? So these are people that are high performers, but they're in a season, whether it was impacted by personal stuff, I don't know, a divorce, negative health diagnosis, that, like, just something, and all of a sudden they are not on their A game and they're not comfortable with it. Right. That's the clientele that I have. And I come in there and we brainstorm about how to get them back to their powerful self. There's a little consulting involved because really true coaching is just asking a lot of questions, and I don't say just lightly. In fact, that's harder to do than to give your opinion. And because of my legal background, I know how to ask questions. I mean, like that, like I am set for that kind of stuff. And I'm also curious, and I'm also highly intuitive. So when I'm working with somebody, I can read people really well. Right, because I'm leaning in, I'm listening to what they're saying, but more importantly, I'm listening to what they're not saying. And it's not necessarily because they're concealing something, it's because they don't even recognize it yet. I'm like expert level at that. And so it is a bit of a gift, and it's a gift I want to hone. I could still yeah, I could sell insurance policies until I feel like retiring. When that would be, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably one of the youngest 6-year-olds you're ever going to come across. And I kid you not. Like, I am on fire. I am, like, active. I don't even look my age. I mean, and that's because I live a very clean lifestyle and I'm sober. And people that have visited me in other spaces know that. I haven't had a drink in like a very, very long time. And I'll tell you that I aged backwards when I stopped that shit 7 years ago. So, Anybody flirting with the idea, like, I really, like, seriously. But um, this whole path that I'm taking, though, to tell you the truth, it wasn't that I woke up one day and I said, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk away from selling insurance policies." It was shown to me, and this is what I'll say to anybody: follow your intuitive voice. Sometimes we like to silence that, or we let others silence that for us. That's a bunch of bullshit. Don't go there. When you know you're supposed to be on a certain path, give it some time to come to fruition. It is so easy to abandon our dreams early because of fear, right? FEAR. And I was just posting about this because some guy said, "Hey, I was in a space a year, or not, I attended a space," and he goes, "What's FEAR stand for?" He couldn't remember, but he loved it. And this is in my book because my mother taught me this: future events already ruined. Right? It's when we start head tripping like that. So, the whole AI thing, I'm down with learning more about it from an imagery standpoint. I haven't subscribed to Midjourney. I did spend a lot of last year subscribing to everything because I had the budget to do it. And then all of a sudden, I had so many damn tools, I didn't even spend the time to actually learn them. Then I got overwhelmed by how much I was spending on these tools when I looked at my credit card statements and I thought, okay, well, you're already several hundred into it. You don't want to abandon it because then it'll be for naught. So then you hang on for a couple more months, but you never spend the time to learn it because you have to really go through the icky process when you're teaching yourself of zigzagging through YouTube or asking friends or figuring out these things, right? So I kind of streamline it right now. Most of my imagery comes from Canva. Now, that's not created by me, but whenever I'm putting up a picture or I just gave my website a facelift over the weekend, I'll just go into Canva and I'll be putting in something, what a description of something, and I just lift off of that. But I do like when I was designing my cover, the design, it wasn't done by me, and I'm going to drop it in the purple pill if I may. It was done by somebody else, and I said to her, I want this simplistic. I want this very clean. I don't want any images, and we got there. But when I put it into like let AI create it, all the words were wonky. So maybe you can tell me, I told it to say WTF, women that flourish, and wisdom was not, or women didn't come out right. Flourish was spelled FLO, RRRISH. Like the imagery was an example, an idea. It was conceptual, but it wasn't concrete where I could use it. So maybe you could talk to the space about how you can capture that.
So I have a client. She's a prosthodontist. 2% of dentists are prosthodontists. She has a PhD. She's from Germany. She's very precise. And I've been working with her for more than 10 years. She's always demanded to write all the copy. So I use my AI tutor where I built an AI agent with a very sophisticated prompt that I created through some information from some people that have attended the space here that are way beyond my pay grade in terms of their abilities to do things. Some computer science guys and as well as advisors to governments and what have you. And so this so I through this I'm able to upload files that I say go through this file. So what we did is I went through all their Google reviews and grabbed all the Google reviews and put it up there, plus their old website or whatever, and it came out with this insanely good copy where it weaved in the Google reviews and it covered everything. And the only thing she changed was we are were to we are, and we will to we will. And so which was a big freaking deal. And I highly recommend my AI tutor. I could show you how to build these things. That it's really, because one other thing that you want to do is you want to tell the prompt, I want this to be repeatable. There's a real science to it, and it takes a bit of there's a bit of a learning curve, or I don't know, not that much one. The AI tutor, you can kind of get lost in the dashboard, but you have to kind of understand how to navigate. But the amazing thing about my AI tutor is you have every LLM under the sun accessible. So I can do a prompt with OpenAI, or I can switch it to Sonnet, and they have one feature where you put in a prompt and you put in multiple LLMs, and you get to see the output of all of them. And through that, I realized that Sonnet 3.7 is the best when it comes to writing copy. It's just head and shoulders above the rest when it came to and here Ross is here. Hopefully Ross will speak about this. But I think that that might be a very good solution for you in terms of because once I moved on to there, I don't listen to the noise anymore. I don't waste my time. Attention is the most important asset I have. Time and attention. And to get distracted by this story or this tool or this tool, it just freaking wastes time and money and everything, and it wastes your energy. So it sounds to me like you know yourself so well. You understand the ideal client so well. So you just need to not be distracted by all this noise, but then have a team, your daughter, who knows who that you are you can dependably count on something because you can get an idea. That's the wonderful thing about entrepreneurs or business people. You get ideas all the time. You go for a walk, what have you. You get an idea. I'm going to try this. And then you don't have to think about, well, what tool should I use? Or am I missing something? And you just know this is the well house that houses it all. And you start to build solutions that are specific for you. I believe this is the time where every business, you for $3,000, you can get a NVIDIA supercomputer that you can house your own agent on and start building an agent for you that you train, and take your time over the next 3 years. This is going to be my assistant that's going to help me in all kinds of things. But the way I believe to start right now is to start building little agents through a platform like my AI tutor, and then and builds solutions that will be there for the next 3 to 5 years. Ross, do you want to add to this, or Danielle or Andy?
I actually came in here, and that's awesome what you're saying. It's all true, truly.
So Ross, introduce yourself. I don't know if Danielle is our
Yeah,
guest speaker for the
sure.
day, and so please.
Um, my name is Ross, and I'm the founder of Tech in Schools Initiative. And my team and I built AI Tutor and Pixio. And there's like a whole long story. You can check out my feed to see the products if you want to use them. They're great products, but I actually came here, John, because we just launched something really cool that everyone asks us about. Every single person that we have an onboarding with, and it's how to monetize and how to share like AI like workflows. So we just built that, and I put it in the
Right,
nest.
right now I'm interviewing Danielle. I'm sorry to cut you off, Ross, but Danielle has been trying to figure out how best to use. Danielle has a very exciting background and is doing really amazing things, and just needs to find a solution that can be kind of consistent for it for her
Yeah, for
business.
sure. I just popped in here to show you that, and of course I can answer that. But basically, now you guys people could share workflow, so you could share what you're doing like with her for the first time ever, like step by step with pictures. But yeah, Daniela, if you're looking for AI, I mean, I can only just say try AI Tutor for 1 month, and you can literally see the huge difference. It would take such a long time to go through everything, but feel free to book a Calendly. And if you're using AI right now, I urge you to start using different models because the bottleneck is going to be by the model that you're using. I tend to use multiple models in one workflow, and that's why I was working for the last few days building this, which actually was built with AI Tutor, which is so cool. And it the whole idea is helping people understand how to use different things because people don't even know what's the difference for Claude. Like, what is Claude? What is OpenAI? Why should I use them? And it's a lot right now. And no one's really publishing workflows besides like tweets and things like that and threads, and it's hard to follow. So the general public, at least the people that we speak to, like teachers and students and just regular, have no idea about this stuff. So if you are using ChatGPT right now, you should start using all the different models. And that's where we come in to save you money because the models tend to be very expensive, especially like 4.5, which is like $150 per million. It's kind of wild. but also being able to swap, or like he was saying, Beam, I think he was mentioning when I came in, as soon as I jumped in, it's like putting all the models of like 8 of the smartest people in the whole world together for them to help you. And this thing, why I wanted to tell you, John, and then I have to hop in a meeting, but I wanted to show you this because somebody made one of these and it was like manual, and it saved it, like helped me understand a workflow. But there's nothing that exists like this. So right now you can like create workflows and share them no matter what tool you're using, whether it's AI Tutor, Pixio, anything. And someone like you or Danielle or anyone in this room, the one thing that you have that the next person doesn't is how you did it, right? And that for the first time can be sort of put behind like a password protected place where you could like actually distribute it. But we aren't building it to take any sort of middleman. Like that's the other problem. So like someone like you should be able to share an entire workflow with Danielle, and she should be able to get whatever tools she needs to and follow the right links, because a lot of the times everything's mismanaged.
Can
But yeah, you can get back to your interview. I just came in to show you this because it's
can you put that in the purple pill? And I'm sorry, I just
yeah, yeah. No,
and
you're good.
Ross, I mean, I can't say enough good things about AI Tutor. They also offer free classes if you have somebody on your team that wants to learn how to make these tools. And pretty soon, I believe, Ross, am I wrong, that we're going to be able to take these AI agents that we create and make them agentic through AI Tutor and
Yes.
daisy
So
chain them together?
what's happening with the API is that direction. So right now we just introduced scraping. So your agent that you create via our API, like, can actually go grab information from websites. And given today's announcement, we're bringing in OpenAI web search into AI Tutor,
Mean,
which
it's
is really cool.
based on my AI tutor. I was like, I have got to be able to be in a certain place at a certain time, and thanks to tech and schools and their courses, I did it because I had this big job to rebrand my client site from general dentistry to prosthodontics to rank statewide, and I'm achieving these benchmarks and these milestones in the time frame I wanted to, and which is giving me a great thing. And I would love to listen to Danielle about your networking, and Ross, I don't know if you have to run, but Danielle's a powerhouse, an amazing speaker. And the reason why I asked you to be a guest is just because I'm blown away by your energy and your clarity and your abilities. And so I'm hoping that today's space gives you some value, and in giving you value is going to give everybody who's listening value. Do you have to run right away, Ross?
I got a few minutes, but yeah, it's very nice to meet you, Danielle. And I wish I can like stay in your spaces and catch them all the time. It's just the schedule is out of this world crazy sometimes.
Well, it is kind of exciting to have things move so fast to a certain degree. Danielle, do you have any questions you can ask Ross directly, or
Well, so with the I had heard of AI tutor, and so when you guys are dropping that, so now, I'm asking ChatGPT, I'm looking at my computer and I'm like, okay, what kind of tiers? Because I don't want to jump into that on my phone. We're here, right? I'm in this space. But what would you recommend for somebody like me who's already like I not proficient in AI, but I mean like I utilize it every day in my business, but not all the extra models, right? So not mid journey, not all the visuals and that kind of stuff. So there's the free tier. I never do free because I figure that's too limiting. But there's a starter plan. It says 14.99. I don't know how accurate this is. Again, this is just ChatGPT breaking it down. The plus plan 24.99. What I want to do is I want to buy smart, right? And because what I've been doing in the past is I buy everything and then as I shared earlier, don't necessarily utilize them. So what is the recommendation from?
So ChatGPT gave you that info. It's really accurate. It's awesome. That's really good. Embedding your app in LLMs is probably the coolest new thing of the future. But yeah, no, I would say for you, premium would be really good. Ultra is a little crazy and has Beam, and you can always upgrade to that. But premium is really good. It's over 250 LLMs.
Yeah, that's probably overshooting the mark for me, right?
So
Again,
the
yeah.
point of the premium is that means that you have one platform where you can put prompts in and you can change from Chat GDP to DeepSeek to Claude Sonnet to all these various LLMs are all within the platform. So that's why I think it's a great time saver, and it's also good for the for people mentally that feel that, hey, this is something I have to get into, where you have one platform that has access to all of them. And so you don't have to open new accounts. You don't have, and then you can test them right in front of you to find out which one is doing the best output for whatever given task you're looking at. That's my experience.
Um, yeah, I would say premium's good for all the different kind of apps and all the models, like every single one. Plus is less models, and ultra is just the really really expensive models and being able to hit them unlimited, including like advanced voice and like we have the O3 and O1 thinking high, which is super expensive. But most people, premium is honestly perfect.
So like one use case scenario that I do, yeah, I recently interviewed two of my clients, and I can talk into Zoom or whatever just to get the transcript. Then I created this prompt through my AI tutor that says, take all of the content from here and put it into categories. And then I'll take that, and from each category then I'll put into my other prompt that will say, write a you know write about this to a certain degree, whether it be a post, whether it be a short post, whether it be content, whether it be a blog, a website, or an article. And so with my AI tutor, you're able to do these things, and you can put them in. Then you can kind of, Monday I'm gonna speak. Then Tuesday I get the transcripts, and I'm going to separate. Thursday I'm going to make the content, and then I'm going to post it all next week. But you can kind of start to get into a real flow, so you don't have to think about all the other noise. You can just focus on what you need to focus to continue your mission in terms of your business plan, and decide what's worth your time to put effort in. Maybe you'll look at all this and you'll say, you know what? I'm better in front of people. This is all just a bunch of noise. Sonnen was very good about, pointing out, like, how much of this stuff is just busy work and how much of it is actually moving the needle. So, I mean, I think that's a question that everybody's going to have to ask. I asked Grok to do a predictive analysis of the next couple of years of what AI is going to look like. And, there's a good chance that companies and everyone's going to overshoot expectations. And there's going to be a big pushback because everyone's going to realize that maybe all this is just busy work and noise and it's not moving the needle. We don't know if that's going to be the case, but that is a distinct possibility.
Yeah, and I'll also say to what you're saying, one of the main things that a lot of people don't understand is the API offerings is a lot better than the product offerings of most of these companies. So a lot of the limitations, for example, inside ChatGPT, are lifted in the AI tutor. So like unlimited context of system prompt, no limitation on how much you could use it, no token counter. There's like unlimited usage of pretty much every model, even the super expensive ones, due to our partnerships with these companies. And you can certainly see the difference immediately when you spend like a whole day using like O1 thinking high or O3 and never ever run out. And also controlling the model is important too, which is what AI John is talking about. You're able to get full control of the models rather than some prompt between you and the model. And generally, it's just cheaper than even using API access. We have a unique partnership with these companies, which allows us to offer a unique sort of product. And the way you use it, John, is exactly the way we built it, including things like deep research. For OpenAI, that's $200 a month. You can still get that without spending $200 a month.
I mean, I built workflows through my AI tutor that are, really great. and the apps, I got to tweak a little bit to then I can start giving them out, and then have a freemium thing and then charge. But then also, I'm just basically one of the things that I do with my business is I'm going through my AI tutor and everything that I can turn into a workflow that's kind of agentic, or that does it once I trigger it, is where I'm going, so I can save my time and uh have things that are kind of by rote and very specific done really quickly. Danielle, you have any questions?
No, I was just looking up to see if let's see. Is it Ross that we're talking to? Because now I'm looking at your profile, Tech and Solutions Initiative, and the way that you're speaking, I'm like, are you working for
So,
AI Tutor
so
or?
my name is Ross. I'm the one of the founders of Tech in Schools Initiative. We created AI Tutor and Pixio. So yes, you are speaking to Ross, one of the creators of Tech in Schools, which is the company that produced the two products.
I did not intend I didn't know that Ross was gonna come here and stuff, so this is, I the only reason why I'm, uh, s talking so well about it is because I use it so much, and I've had those things about, like, where do I go? Where do I put my attention? And once I signed up with, my AI tutor, I didn't have to I'm not wasting my time looking at a whole bunch of other things because I know that they all will be under the umbrella of that dashboard within time, and pretty much all of them are, you know. So it saves a lot of time, and it saves a lot of money as far as I'm concerned. And the output is just stellar. It's really, really amazing. And if you have a team, if I think that you can use the platform to build up a bit of a little team in terms of doing things. But and one other thing I'd love to hear more about is just your strategy over the next year or 2 or 3 years, because that's when I think we're gonna have a lot of change going on, and I think all this disruption is gonna be very good for you and your business model, because I did research the other day about what are the biggest, concerns and pains and fears, on Reddit and other social media platforms and forums, and, everybody's very concerned about the disruption of AI. So I would imagine that, and that goes from executives to, I mean, people with lower skills might have more disruption, but even, mid-level managers and what have you, look like they could have a lot of disruption. Have you put any thought into that, or do you have like an Uber plan for the next couple years, Danielle?
Well, listen, my yeah, the answer is yes and the answer is no at the same time. And the reason I say that is because like the whole premise of my business and just this path I'm going down is that, that John Lennon song where we say life is, what happens while we're busy making plans, right? I don't believe in plans, I believe in goals. I believe in visions. What I do know is that every time I make a plan, there's a pivot that happens, and that whether or not that's going to disrupt me to the point of paralysis is a decision that I need to make for myself. So, yeah, I have a vision. I mean, the vision is looks like this today, and it could very well change. When I started the whole WTF coaching framework and executive coaching as my main career, the idea was that I would like, get, I charge quite a bit, right? I mean, these career professionals are willing to pay it. And so, and my time is valuable. So you can make enough on that and some keynote speaking gigs, you can get paid very well for speaking. But really what I see is creating a bit of an empire. I think we talked a little bit about this in Justin Space this morning. It's not so much about being, Danielle Sproles as being the unscripted pivots like a WTF coaching framework, because I want to create it where there's going to be a lot of coaches that are coaching on this. So I envision teaching. And that's why AI tutor is going to be very helpful for me because I have to learn how to do those workflow processes as I bring on those people. Now, I don't project to do that until like next year. I'm just getting my own footing right now, but I want to bring in other professional coaches that can, offer maybe something specialized that I don't, or maybe just have a personality that will work better with, incoming clients. I don't want this to be Danielle team of one. I want this to outlive me. And both like when I go meet my maker, but just even when I decide to retire in, who knows, 10, 15 years, let's see what God has in store for me. But I also want to, and this gets influenced by some of the spaces conversation, but one more in particularly a networking event I went to where a woman had created her own app, and and it's all around mindset and wellness. She's a coach. And her app was purchased by corporations. It's part of their exit package. So what they do is they give her app so that people could practice wellness. Like I don't know if it'd be emotional wellness. I did not listen to this app, but what would I found really fascinating was she's like, look, I'm not out there selling my app. My app is bought by corporations and they're giving this app to people that are leaving. It's like part of their exit package. So it's already happening. So I was like, yeah, I want to make an app like that. But I would love to be a coach in a pocket, right? Like, I envision very prematurely early on, conceptually, it would look like something like you're having a WTF moment, right? You hit the button categorically. What kind of WTF moment? Is it professional? Is it business? Whatever. Maybe there's like a little, I don't know, saying or empowering statement that you could look at. Maybe there's some meditation. I've recorded myself doing some meditation stuff on my podcast. Things like that. I mean, right now, this is early stages, but I definitely will need to lean in heavily on AI in creating those things. That's where Christelle comes in, just a little bit, because I know she's talked about no coding apps and whatnot. So I do have a meeting with her to become a paid part of her educator community. I also am a paid member of the Ronin community, because really kudos to Justin. That's really how I came into understanding the value of spaces. And I have a meeting with him this week, and that will look on like what do ads look like. Like I've never done that. So AI is going to be very important in the development of those ads and how we get them out there. So yeah, I love everything that I'm learning from here. And I'll tell you what, the biggest takeaway is twofold. One, I'm going to definitely get on AI tutor like ASAP. And then what I'll need to do is remember to cancel my ChatGPT after I get that underway, because I don't want to be paying for both independently, right? Let's remember that, people. Okay. Like as you pay for more apps or things that are going to work better for you, remember to unsubscribe, okay, from the ones that you're already on, because we can become, redundant in a hot second, right? And then it's just a waste, and you got more money going out than you do coming in. I see Ross with his hand up. He probably has some real wise words to share. Go ahead.
So a bunch of things. First, what I recommend is using no code tools. And I know that's like the weird thing or the hot take, but learn to code. It's not hard. It's actually quite simple when you understand what you're doing. And if you're trying to monetize around AI or automate parts of your brand or company or product or service, come to Idea to Impact. It's every single Wednesday forever. And it's classes every Wednesday about how to build products with AI that can go to market. I would say using AI Tutor certainly will help you. I mean, the onboarding alone will be illuminating for you on actually what I do or what we do and how we use LLMs. That will change pretty much everything about how you LLM. But I would strongly urge not to use no code. I would strongly urge to not use no code tools at all and actually take the free classes that we offer every Wednesday here on Twitter, live stream, and learn how to build these things assisted, right? With tools like AI Tutor will be your assistant to actually help you produce this. In AI Tutor, you can actually prompt something and put it directly live on Vercel immediately with one button in AI Tutor. It's one of the newest things that just launched. And things like this will allow you to create your own sort of hyper focused software. In addition, we have our API, which is given for free to our customers with, of course, a limit on tokens, because it's not really AI Tutor. It's like how we built AI Tutor. So you can begin to make your own app, and you get a bunch of tokens when you have AI Tutor, so you will not run out. But what I've seen AI John build blew me away. What I've seen other people build, like when you mentioned the wellness, I saw someone build that with our API last week in Idea to Impact. A
You
creative.
know, one thing I was going to say, I don't think Danielle's times, based on her background and everything, might be best used taking the courses. But then again,
I mean, no,
you
see,
know,
I strongly
well,
disagree.
let me just finish what I'm saying. But then again, because of the prompts that I made and the workflows, because I know what I do with SEO and digital marketing and business consulting is very exact and it's very easy for me to do because it's what I do and it happened very quick. And I think that professionals like Danielle, when they start to see and understand how these things are done, because AI can't think. It will never be able to think. It was never a commercial real estate broker. It was never adult. It was never a parent. It has no contextual understanding of the outside world. And it probably never will. Some people disagree with that, but that's my opinion. But so when you have expertise that you have, Danielle, and you start to understand how these things are done, you can bring a level of you can bring outcomes and tools into that nobody else will, because nobody else will have that experience. So maybe it would be worth your while to do that. Probably have your daughter with you or somebody who would be the one that really getting into the nitty gritty. But if you can see that and you're like, oh, this is what these are the steps that need to go together. This is the statistical information that needs to be here, or what have you. It with a high level of experience and expertise, you can craft things that other people won't see and won't be able to craft, all because of a vision. And yeah, I believe that vision is much more powerful than anything, but you always want to have benchmarks and what have you. Sorry to interrupt you, Ross, but
No, you're good. I
want
agree with you. I'm just, it's interesting because, we're 4 or 5 years ago, I would never have said that. But right now, anyone that could like basically turn on a computer and use ChatGPT can like build their next web app. You proved it to me. Everyone proves it to me. It's not just me. So like, even someone zero background, never did it, has no idea what they're doing. Like, there's a way you can actually do something and then begin to develop the understanding, at least in the realm of the environment that you need to be existent, right? Your own app. So you need to know the things that are going on in your app. And that's really easy to do now. Like, it's absolutely mind bending crazy how easy it is to go from like literally idea to impact, which is why we named it that. It's just nuts. And the API we built makes it even easier. You should see, like, this is going to keep happening. It's going to get even easier, but the resources and the how to is going to get sort of more intricate and harder, because like not everything, information isn't equal everywhere. And that's what's important about these spaces, conversations, idea to impact, things like that help sort of equalize everyone. So like right
absolutely.
now, you can build with all the AIs at the same time, and you don't need to sign up to all of them. There's tools like AI Tutor and Multibot and Beam that let you do that. And then when it comes to like your idea, John and Danielle and anyone in here, you could sit down and just do it. Like I didn't do anything for 2 days and I built this platform. And that's with knowledge. It took me 2 days. Without knowledge, it might take you 2 weeks, but you'll get there without paying anyone.
Absolutely. And one thing, Danielle, I'd like to kind of bring us back to is the when you were saying that uh the changes in people that people have. What was the term that you used? Pivot. That's
Uh,
right. Pivot.
oh,
Um
pivots. Yeah, I'm all
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
unscripted pivots. Let's get there. That's
Yeah.
the name of my
So
company.
the uh mother of my child is a Emmy award winning showrunner, and beat change is the big thing, right? So when anytime in a script you have a beat change, it's like everything turns. And so that we are have like in the new paradigm that we find ourselves in with AI, it's like we're having a pivot change, a beat change, whatever you want to call it, almost daily. And so to be able to put those, like a horse that has those blinders on so they can only look forward, to be able to do that in today's environment and take out all of the noise is a skill within itself. And I think that it sounds like that's one of the main things that you provide people with your coaching, is you're able to wipe out the noise. You're able to by asking probing questions, understand the person's problems better than they can articulate it or understand it, because you can't change something unless you can identify it. That's what we need language for. And so it sounds like to me that that's one of the main things that you're providing people on a high level. And I really would love to explore that a little bit more, so then maybe we can flush out it, where these AI tools can help, if at all, in that area of your work. Because like Sana was saying the other day, that we need to understand what is noise and what is actually viable that moves the needle.
You know, okay, so what you said earlier about, like, how valuable time is, right? So for somebody like me who is just relatively new, and I say new, like a year and a half into utilizing AI tools, again, mainly ChatGPT, how comfortable we are with anything in life is going to be directly related to how often we use it, right? And so I'm going to check out the AI tutor and just expand my world because of everything that was said today. And I'm excited about that. But how I utilize all these things moving forward, again, I'm in the coaching space today. I'm in the speaking space today, right? And now what I used to do for free, I get paid to do. And so that's how I put myself out there. The books that I'm doing all around the pivoting part, like this second book. So the first book is WTF, and then the second book has to do with pivots. And so the pivot is also an acronym because I'm that acronym nerd. The pivot stands for, and I'm going to be promoting this as a framework, like a coaching framework for whether we're talking about AI or anything. So the P stands for pause and prioritize, because anytime that you're going to have a disruptive moment, what I call unscripted pivots, hence the name of my company, P stands for you're going to pause and prioritize when something is throwing you a curveball. I stands for identify the opportunity. V, vet your choices. O stands for outreach, right? This is where we gather information and we're checking in with whether it's our colleagues, our clients, things of that nature. And T is then, take the leap and test, right? So the pivot framework is something that I'm going to be rolling out, like for anybody in business that's going through some sort of disruptive time. And I think that that's going to apply whether, for AI or for anything. But the things that you guys talk about on this space are so valuable to a person like me who has historically been tied to corporate America and all the resources attached to that experience. You have divisions of people doing your marketing, your admin work, your whatever the hell it is, right? And then when you come out as a solopreneur, now you're there like naked in the wind, right? And you're like, okay, how do I accomplish this? Unless I become more proficient on the daily with these tools, that's going to be like a do or die thing in terms of my growth, right? So I'm going to check that out. But right now, I mean, I'm sailing along and I'm doing pretty well and I'm enjoying it. But just earlier today, I had changed my logo for my business because it just was UP and stood for unscripted pivots, because it really was for the podcast. That's how it started. And now I don't want it just to say unscripted pivots because I have a registered LLC all around coaching. So now I want the word coaching in it. And as I'm fooling around with it, I'm changing my Gmail signature on it. So I asked ChatGPT, like, how are we going to change this? Not the logo visual, but just like the body of it. And it was so funny. It spit out an HTML and said, hey, use this. And I looked at that like, okay, now we're speaking French, right? Like what do you mean copy and paste this stuff? And I'm looking at, like, okay, speak to me like a kindergartner, and it's giving me the steps. It did not work out, guys. Okay, so like copying and pasting and trying to put that in a signature block for Gmail, epic fail. It said something. That's another thing too. Some of these AI tools are better than others, right? That didn't work for Gmail. When I went back to it and I called it out, it was like, oh yeah, sorry, there's not a button on your Mac for that. Well, hello. Same thing when I gave my facelift to my Squarespace website this weekend. ChatGPT was kind of helping me with some stuff, and then I'd go in there and it didn't even have the tools. So sometimes you're misguided too, right? So this is really about perseverance. This is about persistence. right? And not giving up. And we see so many people posting these kind of messages because they are important, and so it's just but again, just love the space, love that you guys are so far along in the AI spaces. And I don't mean just this talking community, but just the industry by and large. And John, you had shared, like, more than once in the startup circle that, like, 2 years ago this wasn't even at the forefront of your mind, and now it's where not only you reside, but you thrive and you help others and you get paid to do so. So anything is possible. Whether or not I'm going to try to create my own app, I'll look at anything once, or, more than once. But time is valuable. And where do I make my money? I make my money by the networking I do, and, being out there in person, and coaching live. So I probably will hire somebody to do an app, but I love that the message here is that anything is possible and anybody can. And that's a message that we need to remind ourselves every day. If something is calling you, if you feel a gravitational pull towards something, that means you should explore it, and explore it with patience. Explore it with just an open mind, and continually work on positive self talk. Right? Because in a hot second, we can go into a negative space out of frustration. And you know what? A good friend told me one time, Danielle, if you're going through hell, well, don't stop and build a condo. Just keep going. So that's what I have to say on that.
I love that. And actually, uh, someone who's related, she's 86. She's lives in Chicago, and she posted that she's going to start her PR firm again. And with that post, she got, I don't know, 300 comments, and she got a client. And I told her, we'll try to, build in public. I think it would be a really fun thing that would get a lot of attention. So, my father's 90 years old. Yesterday, he's very against he's an Ivy League physicist, whatever. But so he's very against the new president. So we're exploring a domain so he can, because he sends out rants about stuff. So now he can publish them to the internet. And it's it's and I find it very entertaining. But yeah, I mean, staying current, staying relevant, paying attention to what's going on and the changes. I think, like you're saying, it's really important for all of us to feel like we're in the zeitgeist. I think, and you can do that forever. And there's, the only thing that's holding you back is your own beliefs. Your mind can create a cage that doesn't exist, but you believe it's there. And that's one thing that we try to fight against every day. um and I think, for me, doing this space daily really kind of helps me feel that I'm in the middle of things, so I don't have to feel like I'm missing out or something's going by. Building relationships with Ross, and back to what you're saying about relationship, I still would love to hear about what your definition of is networking is, because I believe the X is the best networking app anywhere, especially because of these spaces. I've built relationships with so many, almost, with everybody here in this room almost. And what is the definition of that? And then also, we're getting near the half of the hour. I don't know how much longer you want to stick around. We could close up at 1:30, or if you want to go a little bit further, it's up to you. I can go a little bit further today, but yeah, I would just love to hear w- in terms of networking. Do you have rules? Like, when you first meet people, are you a stickler for it, or you just believe in your personality and it'll win the day? Do you continue to make sure, because I love it, Justin is great about repetition of his brand and all these other things. What have you found that works? I'm just curious.
Okay, that seems like a couple questions. So networking, I would agree with you that, In the virtual world of networking, X is exceptional, top of the pack. But in real live work networking, what that looks like for me is I attend a lot of panel discussions, heavily in the finance and in the commercial real estate space, right? Because that's where I've been residing for a really long time. And when I moved to California, that continued to be the case. So the majority of my relationships are business people that occupy one of those various roles within banking or commercial real estate. So um, I'm networking constantly. I'm attending all sorts of private events, regular hosted events, maybe by a certain bank. They're putting on they're doing that tomorrow. I have three events tomorrow. So one is a woman's leadership luncheon, and I'm a guest to be at somebody's table. You know, I met a woman that's in banking. She liked me. I met her at I host I don't host, but I coordinate a golf outing for a real estate community that I belong to called CREW, Commercial Real Estate for Women. That's a global community, and I am part of their Orange County chapter. And so my husband is a PGA golf pro, and he teaches over in here in Orange County. So we put together something where twice a month women, and there's men too in our community, but it's predominantly women, commercial real estate for women, they come and they take golf lessons. And so it's a networking opportunity for all of us, and they hone their golf skills. Some of them are complete beginners, but I coordinate that on behalf of my chapter because of my relationship with my husband. And that's kind of cool. So all these people are coming through there, and then everybody gets to know me on a more intimate level too, because I'm sending out the emails and the schedules and the this and that around that. And then, next thing you know, they're inviting you to all of their things, right? So a lot of in-person networking. I also belong to the Newport Beach Chamber. You trip over events from them. They've got a couple a week going with that. Some more business centric, some social. So I am out and about a lot. I do a lot of coffee dates. I do walk and talks. So I will meet up with somebody, mostly women when it comes to the walking and talking. I think I would feel a little less apt to be walking around Back Bay with a guy, but like, so we walk and we brainstorm. I mean, everything usually comes with a strategy. There's the personal component, which we can't underestimate. Any of the bigger clients that I've had over the course of, these couple of decades, I got to know who their kids were, who their wives were, like what made them tick, who was celebrating a birthday. I mean, because I am genuinely interested in that stuff. And that's always proven to be of great value to me because people like to be seen, they like to be special. And I like to make them feel special. And that's just not like throwing gifts at them necessarily. This is sometimes just like saying, "Hey, wow, I saw that, like, you mentioned your admin, you had to let her go, or she, moved. Oh, can I help you with that? What are you looking for? Fulfill roles within the company. Like all the different sweet spots aren't necessarily directly related to how you service them. I mean, not everything was about an insurance policy. Sometimes it was just helping them out in other areas, right? People like to know that you know them personally. But hey, listen, there's some guardrails on that too. Don't get weird. Don't be like calling them up and saying, "Oh, I saw that you posted this on Instagram," and I don't want to be a stalker, okay? Like, I keep that kind of stuff. So, look, I grew up in corporate America, so I'm very corporate in my approach. There are no rules of when you meet me. I think what people are very surprised to learn, um, because I am such a go-getter and I like to have fun, that I actually don't drink. If you meet me at a social engagement and there's music or there's doing something, I will be. I'm not buttoned up, but I'm a little zany, but I'm not the crazy lady, right? Right away you could tell my vibe is professional because it's just how I roll. But I'm also one to let loose. I want to have fun with it. That's why the whole WTF thing actually resonated when it first came into my world. And kid you not, I didn't create it. It created me. I was reluctant because I thought people are going to think that I'm crass, right? And it just didn't vibe with who I was. I don't want them to think like, oh, she's leaving corporate America to go around saying what the f bombs all over the place, and it's so not that. At its beginning, like I shared earlier, it started with Women That Flourish. But and I legally trademarked that at the request of a few people that said, go do this in case somebody else steals it and you can't start talking about Women That Flourish. But I coach more men than I do women today. And what I want everybody to know too is, like, if you think about it, the word woman, right? Well, the word man is in woman. So there's a man in every woman. So when you see Women That Flourish on my book, I want you to know it's not just for women. It's directed towards the female community in some of the chapters, but it absolutely is information that can be used by anybody. Now I'm going off on a tangent. I'm just thinking all these network things. I mean, I'm out and about a lot. There are no rules about meeting me. I will tell you this: if there's a panel discussion that I'm attending, I do my homework. I come into these rooms prepared. If I'm a guest of somebody or if I'm coming to see somebody speak, I will make it my purpose to do research around that person. If appropriate, reach out to them, usually on LinkedIn, direct messaging, tell them why. I never say, hi, I want to connect. I will not push that connect button without telling you who I am and why I'm connecting with you. And it will never be a sales pitch. You can also, by the way, guys, use LinkedIn as an admin in as much as when I meet people, because I'll meet 50, 100 people at a time at some of these events. I will connect with them on LinkedIn and I will immediately send them a DM saying, met you at XYZ event, great talking to you about boo, boo, boo. This way, if I don't see this person for 2 months or maybe 2 years, when I see them across the room, I'm like, oh, wait, I know that face, I know that face. Who is that? I'll go back to my LinkedIn messaging. I look them up on LinkedIn. I hit the word message, and all of a sudden it'll say, "Oh, met at." Then I approach that person. "Oh, hey Joe. Oh, remember we met last year at the shopping center event? Blah blah blah." Blah," and so it personalizes it, makes them feel good because our memory's only going to be as like so long, especially when you meet the volumes of people that I meet on a monthly basis. I mean, huge. Yeah.
I'm looking at your LinkedIn page, and um, there's a lot of things you really, it shows how much you get out and you're in front of people, which is really great. And yeah, it's I think that with certain networking, that volume isn't really the necessary component. It's more targeted. And I think that that that's powerful, that if you get in front of the right people with the right message, in the end you'll get a lot more sales. I'd rather have 100 very targeted people connect than 10,000, and and they're all there for the wrong reasons. So it seems like you're doing that really well. It's past the hour and a half. I don't know if there's I would love it if anybody has any questions. You seem to be a wealth of knowledge in for a lot of things. Anybody involved in business or is looking for sales or whatever can learn a lot from what you're doing. If you have any more specific questions about what tools you're looking at, or maybe we can come back to this at some point. I'm definitely going to DM you, just in terms of what you're looking to achieve with within the scope of your business, in terms of trying to build workflows or to just make things simpler. Simplicity is sophistication, and busy noise is just a waste of time. But I have a real love-hate relationship with social media, in the sense that it takes so much time. And and yeah, X can be very consuming. I'm rambling a little bit now at this point, so I apologize for that. So I if anybody has any questions, please ask. Um, and do you have any closing thoughts, or do you have any specific needs that you have? You could talk to Ross directly right here, or things that you want to achieve in the short term. One thing about this space that's very good is there's a lot of developers here, and it's a great place to build relationships. If you're going to build an app, I think that if you're going to build an app and it might get a large number of this is my own personal opinion, a large number of users, you're going to want to work with somebody in case it breaks, that you don't have to deal with that. So I think going the route of building an app kind of yourself, or with a team of your people around you, is good to understand, like, what do I want to do? Like, I have an app that I'm starting to work on, um and I want it to have just like one button that you talk to it, so to make it very simple. And so the interface and all these parts of it, it helps to work with somebody who's built apps before. But this is a good space to start developing relationships with people who have built apps, what their success rate is, what the actual logistics of creating one, the cost. where you're going to, are you going to market it? Or are you just going to put it into the store? All these various questions. And it sounds to me like that is genius, your friend who created an app that the company uses for people on exiting. I mean, I think that that's where, so much more business is than just trying to put it out in the ether and see if it goes viral, which is if you look at posts these days, that seems to be the holy grail of everyone's objective, where I don't think that's really where the money's at. Do you have any thoughts on that? And where are you? Do you want to continue to talk, or what are your thoughts, Daniel? Is anybody speaking?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I was paying attention, but I also at the same time was looking at what was put down in the purple pill, right? So, because a lot of valuable information, and so I was just checking that out while you were talking. But um, I can stay for about 10 more minutes, and then I have to jump. You'd have to ask that question again though, because I really am so excited this afternoon to dive into the AI tutor. I've heard of it, it's come across my plate, but after today's conversation around that, I'm gonna dedicate a chunk of time this afternoon to see how I can utilize and bring that into the fold.
Cool. Yeah, I'll DM you. I'd be happy to kind of help you, show you what I've done. And looking at what you have got going on, I think I've got some things that I've already put together that could kind of get you up to speed in a really fast way. And so, over the next year or whatever, you mentioned about doing an app and continue to focus also with your books. With your books, do you have a plan or a vision on how you're going to market that? And it seems to me like you should be the head of your own community.
Oh, yeah, I definitely gonna, you mean within spaces? I'll launch a space and I'll do a community. But again, I have only been doing this what for 3 months. So I'm watching some of the greats here, including yourself and Kevin and Justin and like how they're rolling this out and Chris Style. But I'm not studying it hard right now. I'm so busy getting this other book out and creating this other one. I mean, I meet every Monday. I'm with a book coach creating the second book, and the first one's not even out. Can you imagine? If you said to me a couple years ago I was going to be, I always thought I'd be an author. I'm a very solid writer. I mean, just because I've been trained to be law school and all that kind of stuff, and I like writing. I mean, don't ask me to do math. No, that's not going to happen. But the writing I'm strong at, and I'm enjoying the process. But when you go down this more traditional route and you start publishing, and again, I'm just self-publishing, but I'm aligned with a team of people that are helping me to get this out as a business tool so that I can use it to capture more coaching clients. And I don't want to just do one-on-one. I want to do group coaching, but I want to do group coaching within small businesses, right? You come in and maybe there's a team of 10. I want to be the in-person. If you've ever seen, what is that show? Billions? I think it's Billions, right? And there was that woman character who was like the in-house, like, I guess psychiatrist for lack of a better word, but she was a coach to all them. That's like the dream jobs, right? Like where I'm going in and I am hired like on a retainer for companies like that. Like that's what I want to do. The books are helpful for speaking, for paid speaking gigs. I mean, I've done a fair amount of speaking prior, mostly about title insurance. How boring is that? But now I'm coming in and I'm rolling in something very different. So my expectation, my hope is that when this book comes out, it'll gain a lot of attention. The marketing piece, we'll see what that looks like. Some people have counseled me to start marketing this heavily right now. But I got to tell you, I really thought this book would be out in January, and we're already mid-March, right? So I don't want to be talking about this for 3 months when it's not available. I will go hard and fast when I know I'm in with like a 2 week purview. You will see a lot of videos on me. I don't know if you'll see them here really on X, but I will be posting them like on Instagram, LinkedIn, all those things, which by the way has really gone dormant in my life. As I became, busy tying up this book and writing the new one and being involved in X, I'm not even posting on all these other things. I mean, that's just kind of fallen by the wayside. out of interest, like a lack of interest. So there's that curse too. When your attention starts to go elsewhere, it's almost like I've left one thing as exposed to expanding it. I have
Well,
to. Yeah, go ahead.
but one thing, Vladimir's here. Vladimir got unceremoniously kicked off of X. I've got two X accounts. You want to be careful. I've been doing the internet for 15 years. It is fickle, and things come and go. Companies will rug pull things that you expect, people expect, like the whole getting paid on X. I'm sure that's going to dwindle down to almost nothing at some point, and then they're going to push their ads. And these things are always constantly changing, so you got to really, being that you're doing so much in-person networking, that's going to be, solid as a rock, and nothing can get in the way of that with all the things going on in the internet. But yeah, you do want to be kind of careful in terms of putting all your eggs in one basket, when it comes to these platforms, because in the long run they don't really care about any of us. They've got their own needs, desires, what have you, and it's just a tool, and the tool can be yanked at any time. We don't have we don't There's no agreement where, hey, if I pay, you've got to make sure that my account is always visible. And that would be nice, but that's not the case.
No, that's why, capturing email, right? They say email is king. I mean, you need to have the relationships, on some sort of spreadsheet, because at any given moment, these things can evaporate. I mean, 2 months ago when TikTok was temporarily suspended, and it could very well be taken off for good this year. Who knows what's going on in the political arena? But, that really disseminated so many people that were making their money on TikTok. Now I'm on TikTok, but mostly for just fun, not for anything. But a year ago, when I came out of corporate America, this is hindsight, by the way. I started like going on TikTok, and I was doing things, and it was really a release. It was like almost like I needed to play. I had been so, I guess, professional and corporate for so long that I was enjoying this free time without having to get on a plane to go to some other conference, and I was like doing lip syncing. Now, it wasn't because I thought I was good at it. I was having fun. And I think my husband was looking at me and saying, "Oh, she's losing it." Like, she's like, I was doing videos and I'm getting all these followers and I'm like hanging out. But when I look back at it, was it a waste of time? I think I needed that transitional kind of just fun, because everything in the year prior was so intense. One company I was working for in New York, again, I'm in California, but I was working for a company in Manhattan that got acquired, and they lied to us about whether or not the new owners were taking us all on. They promised us that they would, and they didn't. And so we all got like 48 hours notice, like I think it was like a Wednesday afternoon. By the way, HR will be meeting everybody on Thursday at 10 virtually, because, we're going to talk about the transition process, so letting everybody go. And so that was obviously a WTF moment. Now, because I'm a sales executive, I make people money. I can always get another job. Not always, but it's fairly easy for me to go from one place to the next. But that wasn't the case for a lot of members of my team. And so it was really sad that I knew that I was going to be disengaged from all these people. So I took that to heart. I mean, like, it really, I was not happy about any of it and about their lying, but they have to do that. They can't tell you everything behind closed doors, but it sucked, right? Within 24 hours, I was hired by another company that saw me post on LinkedIn that I left the one title insurance firm. And they called me up and they said, "Hey," and again, just because they know me on LinkedIn, these people don't know me. They're like, "We want to hire you, blah, 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 blah." And not only that, they gave me an unasked, I did not ask for $50,000 signing bonus. They said, "If you come with us today, we are not going, like, without talking to anybody else, we will give you $50,000. But what we want you to do is sign a 3-year contract." And at the time, I thought, well, okay, this company is local to my community. It's probably good for me to work in California. I liked the people, the woman I was going to report to. I knew of her. I had like a 3-hour conversation. I'm like, okay, she's my jam. Like, I am so happy to be reporting to this woman. So off I go, and they paid me the salary I asked for, which was double what anybody was getting for their sales thing. And I point that out not to brag, but what would end up occurring was within 3 months, the following things happened. One, the woman that I was reporting to that I adored, respected, and wanted to be like, she was like a mentor of sorts, got promoted too, right? Because she deserved it. Well, she was no longer part of my division. So out she went, and they hired some guy from a competitor company. And him and I were like oil and water. No, no bueno. Okay. That was number one. Number two, California decided that SB 133, the rule that doesn't allow people in title insurance to wine or dine, you're not allowed to do that out in California. It would also mean that you couldn't be on a board. And I was on two boards and I was poised to be president of one. And so I was on a 3-year trajectory to be this president. And it meant a lot to me. And it was great, not only personally, but professionally to be visible. And it included a lot of travel. I loved it. I had to freaking step down like within 24 hours because California decided that everybody had to, they were going to enforce this a different way. They considered it to be an inducement, right? You can't induce people. You can't give away free work, free resources. And then the new guy that came in that I didn't get along with, that was now my direct report, didn't want me to do my podcast. And I was enjoying the podcast. And he said to me, no, you know what? That's a distraction. You need to bring in more work. You're paid double and I have to make sense out of you. Now, the salary that was given to me was the woman that left, right? So he didn't like that he inherited me. And what would end up happening was I would be spending 3 months in virtual hell with this company. But if I left, I was going to have to give back $50,000. Well, Uncle Sam took a big chunk of a bonus check, right? So how much did I come away with? Like 32 grand, right? Probably cleared that. So, but I would have to pay them back 50. And I was like, hell to the no. I didn't, I was mad at them, and I really, I just, but so two things happened in 2023, right? One company just up and outed the whole commercial division, just one team. The whole commercial division across the country was eliminated because they got acquired. And so that was a real heartbreak, to tell you the truth. I really, really liked that job and I liked the people I worked with because I was with them for like 3.5 years. And we had bonds. I traveled with these people. So that was eliminated. Then I go into what I think is going to be great and ends up being the complete opposite. And it took me a minute, which is how I got into where I want to be my own brand. I want to be my own business person. There are the highs and lows that come with that. There are the financial highs, and lows that come with that, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I know that me, myself, and I, in conjunction with the community that I surround myself with, the people that I hire to help me along, I will get so much further because you know what? Happiness can fuel success. You have to be committed, but you also have to be driven by a purpose and a passion. And I have that today. I have no qualms about what it is that I'm doing. I have no qualms about how well I do it. And I don't say that to boast. I am living in the purpose that the universe has decided for me. I have surrendered to that pull, that gravitational pull that I call the intuitive voice. And so the only thing that's going to prevent me from being successful is, a mindset that doesn't work because it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of freaking gumption to show up every day, right? And learn something new, meet somebody new, create something new. I mean, this is not for the weak, right? And so that's why, is Justin still on here? Because I'll give him a shout. That's why I became a Ronin. I just want to like laugh because him and his little warrior thing. I think he dropped off. But okay, that's enough for me. You can wrap this space up because I got to eat
Okay.
lunch.
All right. Yeah. Well, and I just highly recommend everybody to Google Danielle. You've got a very good profile when you Google you. You've actually X has gotten you into what looks like a in the knowledge graph or business listing over on the right hand side. It's got your Instagram and your LinkedIn, and it just I'm really going to follow you. I want to thank you so much, Ross. Do you have a final question you want to ask? I see your hands up. All right, I guess Ross is busy. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and sharing everything with us today. I really appreciated it, and I'm sure everybody else did. Is it okay if people DM you?
Yeah, I welcome DMs, but I mean, again, it may take me a second to actually see them. Like many people on here, we get flooded with the BS. Some of them are inappropriate DMs, and some of them are just hard sells from strangers. I'm always willing to entertain if I have a relationship with you, hiring you or utilizing your services. But those hard, non relationships that are doing that, so I have to weed through them, right? I get flooded, but yes, anybody can DM me, and please visit the other platforms. I thank you, John, for having me on here because when you first invited me to, I thought I know nothing about this. I don't belong here. And then that very same second, I said, you belong wherever you think you belong, and certainly at the invitation of somebody else. So I came into this thinking, am I less than because I don't know what it is you know? And that is a mindset that doesn't work for any of us. So I said, yeah, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to learn. And what I share, I share. And no, I don't need to be the expert. You're the expert in this space. This is a space you host. So it was just great. And so I said yes when I wanted to say no. And if anybody does that today, do that. Just do that once. Say yes when you feel like saying no, but no for the wrong reasons. Right? That's what I'm going to leave you with.
Well, I think I'm a little like you. I really love human beings. I'm so interested hearing their story, what makes them who they are today, and what keeps people going. And there's a lot of noise in society now that is pitted against everybody in the sense that the news is all worry and fear and all this garbage. And so it's really, I think that everybody hears stories of people just charging forward and facing new challenges and still charging forward. I think is really, really important, especially with AI. And we all need. It's going to redefine ourselves in a world that has where these tools have these abilities. And I think that it's important that we have these conversations. I believe that this space that Andy and I are doing are important because we have people that are on the cutting edge of the technology, and it hits every aspect of society, hits business owners, employees, people of every age, and how are they going to find their place in it. And so I think that part of what we're doing is not only speaking with developers and people that are on the cutting edge, but also business owners and people that are thriving and charging forward in this environment. And how does this apply to you and your position and what you're doing? And yeah, everybody's going to be searching for answers. And I really do believe that my AI tutor is going to be really good. We don't have a professional relationship with my AI tutor. I like Ross and I believe in his product. And so that's why I bring it up. But thank you again, Danielle. Please check out Danielle's account here on X, and she's also on Instagram as well as LinkedIn. And you can find her on YouTube and Facebook. And I recommend that if what she says today um, means finds resonates with you, and you are one of the demographics that she talks about in terms of the people that she helps, to reach out to her, because I believe in you, Danielle, as well. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I really think you got amazing energy, and just all around, you're doing everything for the right reasons. So I'm looking forward to your book as well. So thank you, everybody. And please follow myself, follow Danielle, follow Andy, and we will see everybody tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you so much.